the new strategy of this being the most unprepared podcast on YouTube.
Well, that's kind of what we were going for, so.
That is what we're going for. I did do some preparation. I wrote down a couple of questions. Because we're gonna recap 2022.
There you go. Yeah, I was thinking. I almost texted you and said we could show a clip of an older one or something, show a reaction or something. But
I might. Well, I might have put a clip of like our first podcast.
Oh, you
what
did?
That looked like. Well, no, I haven't edited this. We're recording it, but during that process, yeah, I might do a snapshot. Not that 10 episodes later or whatever that we're pros.
No, that's not that won't be my conclusion either.
Right. My conclusion is that we kind of tripped and fell over the finish line that is 2022. So, anyway, so I don't have a ton of questions, but what are your thoughts on 2022 last year? And it could be podcast related, it could be just tech related, repair related.
Yeah, I mean, for our podcast, it's clear we don't know what we're doing. and
that's okay.
Right. And that's fine. The only time I've described our podcast, I tell people it's because I don't talk about it really much with friends and things, but
I don't blame you. I would
avoid that topic as much as possible. So,
yeah.
but when
if anyone brings it up, just be like, how are you doing?
Yeah. But if it does come up, it's usually this is not for this is not for the benefit of anyone else. It's mostly for John and I's entertainment. So.
It really is. It gives us something to do.
So
yeah. What about non-podcast wise? Anything?
Recap. I mean,
yeah. Anything hit you about 2022?
I mean, it's just like the gloom everywhere else, and the concern of control that I won't go into with other realms, political or otherwise. It's the same with tech. It's scary. The uncertain future of repair and the less control we have in general, ownership and in tech, and that's a lot of it. I mean, you hope you and me both hold this opinion that the bright side of tech and the bright side of technology, and I would say in an enterprise and a lot of things is kind of free enterprise or free personal liberty as well. When people can kind of make their own decisions, you get some cool things, even collaboratively out of that. And so, that's kind of my take on it. What about you? What do you think?
Well, if we're talking podcast, our podcast isn't good, but that's okay.
Right,
this isn't good. We're better today than we were on episode 1 for sure.
Okay.
You're like, oh, that's maybe not.
Maybe.
We are. Look, maybe not that much better than episode 2, but certainly episode 1. That was just a catastrophe. But this is you and I are both pretty introverted people. I certainly am, and so putting myself out there on the internet and voicing myself out, this is definitely outside of my comfort zone. And every time we do this, I get a little bit more comfortable being in front of a camera and talking. And so on a personal growth side of doing the podcast, This has definitely been challenging. I've learned new skills. It's like I said, definitely put me outside of my comfort zone. So just like on a personal growth level, I'd say that this has been a step in the positive. Even if the content isn't great, and even if our recording sometimes just goes to shit, and
Right.
and it becomes an editing nightmare and whatnot. So this has certainly been a learning opportunity and a step in the right direction as far as just a new skill set and educating myself. So I'm going to take the positive. You were so negative and was. I'm trying to take a positive side.
Yeah.
You're just like, our podcast is crap and repair is crap and
Life sucks.
life sucks. There is no more free. There's no free enterprise. We're all doomed.
Well,
So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna, be a snowflake or something and just be like, okay, guys, well, we're learning, so I got a participation trophy. Anyway, outside of the podcast, I think in a lot of ways, Right to Repair is heading in the right direction. I think a lot of large companies see that, and so they're coming up with new and creative ways to get around that. Whether it's Apple and serializing parts to ensure that there is no aftermarket, parts that can work, on their phones. Whether it's Samsung and going after their own partners to prevent, aftermarket parts coming in through customs, and basically this is going to be maybe a topic for a whole other episode, but Louis Rossmann a couple of weeks ago or last week showed a complaint by Samsung. They basically view aftermarket as like trade infringement, and so they're trying to get customs to just apprehend any kind of aftermarket Samsung part, because they believe if it's aftermarket, it must be counterfeit. So it's a different strategy from Apple, but the end is the same, right? This is that they're trying to control the repair process, which is, I think, a bad idea. Like I said, probably a topic for another day. But I mean, you see, even in the neutered bill that New York passed, Right to Repair, I think, is trying to head in the right direction. I think people are starting to get behind it a bit, which is forcing these large companies to get creative and try to get around it. There's that on the repair side. On the just technology and technology news and whatnot. I think Apple last year had probably the worst product. The worst products that they ever launched happened last year in 2022, in my opinion. It was so lackluster from them. There's other companies, Samsung included, that are coming out with a lot of cool and innovative things. Apple, not that they didn't present, anything bad or, whatever, they have, the whole, safety, whatever, which is all cool technology, but boy, they launched a bunch of products that just don't make sense. Their product lineup right now just doesn't make sense. They launched their new Mac Mini and MacBook Pros this week, and they look interesting. But I don't know. We'll see what Apple does. We'll see what Samsung does with their launches. We'll see what Google does. If anything that I can take away from 2022 is, as much as one of our more popular podcasts that we've done is the ranking of the companies. That was a fun video. Yeah, and it was a fun one to do. And competition is a good thing. It really is a good thing. And I will not hide the fact that I hate Pixel phones. It's not that I hate Android. I just hate the Pixel lineup. I just hate those phones. I hate them. But I need them to exist. I need them to exist.
Yeah.
As much as I hate them, I need them to exist. I need Samsung to exist and to continue to make good phones.
There's a Dark Knight analogy or something, right? Joker and the Batman or something.
Something about they're just going to square off forever or whatever.
Right.
Or there's another Dark Knight reference, that you could add. Just it's like die the hero or live long enough to be the villain. That's one of my favorite quotes.
Doesn't Joker say he doesn't hate him? He on the contrary, he likes Batman because he's
right. Yeah, he says right. He says he's like, I don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
What would I do without you?
Right. The competition. Right. Yeah. So,
right. So right, and so you need the Apple versus the Samsung, versus Google. Who your white knight is going to be, who knows? They're let's face it, they're all villains, but but we need them to exist. We need Samsung to continue to make good products. We need them to bring back their quality, their quality assurance team. But Samsung makes really good products. I wish the Z series phones were designed to last longer than a year, but Samsung makes, by and large, really good products. Apple makes, by and large, really good products. I think LG leaving the phone space, did more damage than good. I root for company, even like Motorola. You really harped on Motorola really bad on that episode that we did. But somebody needs to do well in that $200 to $300 range for phones.
Maybe it could be Pixel. Just lower their prices a little bit.
Lower the. Pixel devices might not be so bad if it was like $100 phone.
Right.
I still wouldn't pay $100. But
no, but it would be that great. Might recommend it for my dad or something.
Right. It's the burner phone, right? At $100, Google can be the burner phone. But competition is a good thing. This is why we also need the aftermarket parts to exist, right? Aftermarket doesn't necessarily mean cheaper parts. In a lot of cases, it could mean better parts than what the original manufacturer, was making. And I could go back to the car world with that, right? And it's, if you want, better tires, you might have to go to aftermarket to get better tires or better brake pads or whatever the case may be. On the phone side, you might be able to go to Mobile Centrics and get a better battery than the one that the manufacturer produces. That's just a fact. So, competition is good. We need the large companies and we need the small companies that are trying to bust out. We need them to do their thing too. Competition is a really good thing, and 2022 is just a reminder of that. Is that that choice is a good thing. We need choices, and those choices need to be our own. They can't be made for us. That's the other thing that's under attack right now.
That's our mantra.
Yeah. So, what my next question is what have we learned doing this podcast? What have we learned?
I think you kind of answered it, but if you have something else dialed up for it, go for it.
Well, I would say that running a business is hard. Is something that I've learned. Now, I knew it was going to be hard, but it's really hard. Doing a startup is really difficult. It's really, really hard, and even doing the podcasts and researching analytics and trying to come up with topics that people are going to be interested in and trying to get people to click on the videos and whatnot. It can be just mind numbing, trying to come up with topics. And that's part of the reason why our format is changing is that I'm focusing less on what I think people want to hear and focusing more on just what I want to talk about. But that's a big thing that I learned. What did you learn?
Boy, I'm doing good. Just getting myself dressed in here. So, I don't know. You make me look pretty. I'm not sure. For the whole year, you're saying something big and overarching.
So, well, you could do for or just something within the year, just to learn just a teachable moment that you learn from, or I can go off of the personal side and talk about work and even though running the business has been hard, very difficult, it's still been very rewarding despite its challenges and despite the lack of success that I've had. It's all worth it compared to where I was at.
Yeah, and I think I would double down on what you're saying. I don't know if this is where you're going, but nothing new that I've learned, but new levels of two things continue for me. And one of them is new levels of humility. I mean, that's just something that keeps getting dished to me. Historically, you and me would agree. You get married, you have kids. Those kinds of things are humbling events, and you don't realize until you do them what it entails, I think. But then, after that, I think like we've been discussing, our desire for freedom, it continues to increase and find new levels of, and so I think that's what you and I are both in similar situations where we're enjoying a bit of that, and even if it's not super successful financially yet,
right?
It's there's other rewards there that are definitely coming, personal growth wise and freedom and
that's and again, I'm not sure what to take away what I've learned in that. Right? It's
that's a humility part, I guess.
Probably right. Maybe it's humility. Maybe it's hubris. Right? You and I both take a lot of pride in our work, both here and where we used to work, and in other places that we've worked in the past. You and I take a lot of pride in that, to the point where it's gotten away in the way of a lot of probably personal growth. Just because we have to feed our ego a little bit, and we have high standards for ourselves, and we have a high work ethic for ourselves, and it costs us a lot, on the personal side. At least it did for me. I'm pretty sure it did for you. It's certainly on the mental health side made an impact. But the change to doing this has been way better for both of us. So, I think, probably a lot of hubris in that, and being maybe a little bit more self-aware, a lot of humility. What are you looking forward to in 2023?
Yeah, that, and hopefully some
money.
Yes, hopefully some treasure at the end of the rainbow, or some gold struck, or it'd be nice to at least find a small fortune somehow.
Right.
or to find some rewarding, whether it be this podcast or the one other aspect of our ambitions, to find something that's rewarding.
I don't think that this podcast is going to lead us to any kind of fortune in 2023. I think it's going to be just a small part of something larger.
Probably.
I would certainly like to see, more money come in. Financial stability would be great. I'd be looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to not just changes to the podcast that you and I have talked about doing, but I really want to focus on expanding the YouTube channel, and then the launch of our website as well. Those are two big things that are on the list right now: is the launch of our website, and then expanding the YouTube channel to include repair videos. Not necessarily only like mobile devices, but just technology in general. And I have some ideas on not doing what everybody else has done already. If you want to learn how to fix a Samsung S22, you can go to iFixit's YouTube channel and watch the repair. But there's a lot of other repairs out there that you can't really find on YouTube. Like with these Dells that I'm working on and getting past the BIOS lock on them. That's something that I can throw up onto YouTube. That might do somebody some good at some point. Or instead of doing a full repair video on like an iPhone or something like that, dive a little bit deeper into like common failure points or something like that. But I would like to grow the YouTube channel beyond just this podcast, for sure.
I like that.
Yeah. So my next question was kind of into that, which is what is coming in 2023. So I just spilled the beans on a couple of things that I'm hoping to launch here really soon. What are some things that you want to do in 2023?
So I'll see if I come up with something specific, but something you said earlier is I think it strikes a key with me, and I think it's going to mean even more than you meant it to. When you talk about how this podcast might not strike gold necessarily for 2023, but it's gonna lead to something, and there's some wisdom to that. It's similar wisdom that I've heard in not all people I respect necessarily, but people that have been successful with things like a podcast or other types of enterprises. One of the big pieces that you'll hear from a lot of them consistently is something similar to what you said, that you strike out. That's kind of two ways to strike out. You venture out and you strike out, and or whatever it is, and even if it fails, you continue, and oftentimes you might not get exactly what you're looking for, and so it doesn't mean you don't have goals, but so this might lead to something, and you keep working on things, and we don't know exactly what that is, and that goes back to the humility aspect too. So I don't know specifically. I'm glad you have some goals, so I'll keep following you with that. But I kind of have that feeling. I have this feeling that whatever it is we're working on, this podcast and some other things in 2023, I think it maybe not exactly realized, but I think it's going to start leading to some things, and so that's kind of my perspective with that. So I'm going to keep working hard and keep kind of inching towards some goals, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, keep grinding and grinding, and then see what opportunities get created. Yeah. I'm going to take that wisdom and go with it. So yeah, the one thing that I've heard a lot
you know, especially in the retail days, right? And especially when you're trying to teach sales, for example, you know, I think it's Michael Jordan holds the record for the most missed shots, right?
I like it. Yeah. Volume.
Right. Right. Because, well, the thing is what's the quote? You're going to miss every shot you don't take. Right. So, of course, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Sorry, LeBron. LeBron's pretty good, though. I'm not a basketball guy, but I grew up watching MJ. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I think the podcast by itself is not going to net us, you know, money, but it could be part of something else, and it could definitely lead to something else. Maybe the act of just grinding through stuff for the podcast is going to lead to something else. I don't know. You know, it's kind of funny how life works sometimes when it comes to opportunities. But you know, here we are, and yeah, looking forward to 2023 and some successes. You know, we have you know, at the end of the day, we have more subscribers and more views today than we did a year ago at this point. So,
You have some numbers on that?
well, the podcast wasn't around a year ago at this point,
right. Okay.
right? So you know,
well, it's more than zero. Is what it is.
It's more than zero.
Okay.
In fact, we actually got a new subscriber. I'm not going to say the name because last time I tried to remember a name, I butchered it. So, but
now you lost him, right? We haven't heard from him.
So, well, who knows?
Yeah,
but we gained another subscriber, which is great. And you know, our views keep, you know, happening. So, you know, this is getting somewhere to some people. So, you know, to the, you know, four of you that watch us on YouTube and the 20 of you that listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, whatever. Hey, what's up? Keep listening. Shout out to everybody who you know, bothered to listen to us for any amount of time in 2022. I think we can end that there, probably. What do you think?
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Perfect.